Couples who have moved in together, what surprised you most about living with a male/female? I thought if I ever moved in with a girl, I'd have to be way less of a slob. Turns out I'm the neat freak in this relationship. You and me both, dude. We've had fights over whether or not a Swiffer is as good as a vacuum. It's not. She refused to buy one, so I bit the bullet and got one on Prime Day, and our place is 100% cleaner. Edit, not everyone has carpets, please chill. I got a great deal on a Roomba on Prime Day, but unfortunately a Roomba doesn't do anything about a pile of 2 weeks worth of clothing on the floor. Hey, it does something. It gets caught and then beeps loudly. How different our versions of clean are. That your partner may follow you around the house just because. Please. Stop following me. I'm not following you. Then what did you come in this room to do? I don't have to explain myself to you. Hashtag you're not my supervisor. I have never observed my wife put a bobby pin in her hair. I have found thousands of bobby pins in our house. I built a sunroom out of bobby pins and elastic hair bands. The new extra carport is coming along nicely. Elastic hair bands ducking these. I have never seen her once buy these, but somehow they just keep multiplying and showing up. I bought a 100 pack of them a few months ago and am probably down to 75 or so left at this point. It's one of those things that you absolutely need to have sometimes, but somehow they are always disappearing at the worst time, never to be seen again. Where do they go? I once pulled Chewbacca out of the bathroom sink. Hashtag X200B edit, thanks for the silver. How often I'd be helping her find her car keys. Eventually, I put up a hook that I was able to get her in the habit of using. Made me tear up a little at the time, but a couple weeks after we split I remember getting a text from her that said I miss being able to find my keys. The hair, man. It gets everywhere. Rip the shower drain. And the sink. And the ducking vacuum cleaner. I can rebuild a vacuum cleaner now. This was a skill I never needed until I moved in, platonically, with 2 girls who had waist-length hair. Week later my vacuum died, and I found what appeared to be a small animal choking the roller brush to death. You keep pulling hair out of the bag like it's handkerchiefs coming out of a clown's pocket. Everything has a decorative pillow on it. They are too small to be used for anything, and I'm not allowed to throw them on the floor or pile them all on one chair. The bed has a bunch, and a long tube thing. I'm not allowed to whack her with the tube thing. Where did these come from? Why do we need them? If they're just in the way, can we put them in storage? No? Okay, babe, whatever you want. Seriously, what are we supposed to do with the tube thing? Hit people with it and wave it around like it's a giant dingus. I've got 2 moves and both are big no-nos apparently. The lightsaber in the helicopter? His ability to be doing nothing. He can lay on the couch and stare at the ceiling and do nothing and think nothing. And he enjoys it. I would pull a muscle or pop something from the strain if I tried to do that. Edit, thanks for the awards. I read it so he can nothing in peace. Sitting in the passenger seat and just stare at the roads, not saying anything. Why are you so quiet? Are you upset? What's wrong? Sorry, I was in the middle of a heated argument with myself. I was trying to determine if using slices of French toast still count as a grilled cheese or a melt. Edit, as a thanks for the gold, y'all better post your French toast grilled cheese melt. For me, how subtle the need for alone time crept up on me. I wasn't unhappy in the slightest and moving in was natural. But over time I felt myself becoming irritable, and it turned out that I tend to get that way when I don't have time to myself, because I went from being alone in my room after work in my parents' house to being around my so pretty much every minute I'm not at work or driving, so I found myself with someone almost 247, and it took a toll. Thankfully once I recognized that, it was easier to manage. What do you do to manage it? I'm worried about this in future relationships without saying leave me alone. To be honest, once I figured it out I just explained it to my so. Thankfully he's very understanding. And to be honest I don't even get much more time alone than before, but just acknowledging it and how it affects my mood helped a lot. Having my partner understand that and offer to give me some space if I felt that way ended up making it so that I didn't feel that way as often. I imagine in an apartment that isn't just a studio, it's much easier to manage since there would be other rooms to have to yourself smile. Wait, healthy communication solved the problem? That makes it just like pretty much every relationship problem. Show tell the sitcom writers. She's good at playing Tetris and very organized. I was living with my parents since I traveled for work and only made it home 1 or 2 weekends a month. She moved in with me at my parents' house. We had one room to store stuff, my bedroom. We bought things we'd need when we moved out when we saw a deal too good to pass up, and she stored them. I realized she was good when we had to make 4 trips to get all our stuff out. 4 trips. This girl had boxes inside boxes inside boxes. She utilized every inch available in our room to stack items. We just bought a house and still have some boxes left to unpack. I will call her at work and say something like, "Hey, do you remember that blue paper clip I like to use? I can't find it." She will tell me which room, which box, what container, and what is beside it, just in case I still can't find it. She should compete in a Tetris tournament. Boom. Tetris for Jeff. After living with him for 4 years, I opened a drawer of his dresser. And it was empty. All of it. Apparently he thought it was my extra dresser. He doesn't use a dresser. Clothes get washed and put into a clean clothes hamper. He puts socks and underwear in his bedside table. Now I'm wondering what other furniture in our house is empty. I always knew women went through TP faster than men, but I never knew how much faster they did. It got to the point, I just grab a pack of TP whenever I went to the store for any reason. We may not be out at home, but we will be soon, I reckoned, and I was never wrong about that. You are supposed to get the giant mega pack of like 36 rolls. I didn't know people bought 4 packs except to travel with. Learning that Teresa wrong way to fold towels apparently. My wife has really long beautiful hair. I was not prepared to find that all in my butt and crotch regions as often as I do. I could never be prepared to have one stuck in my ass and have to pull it out like some mangy dog. I've never felt more violated or unclean than when I felt those hairs basically floss my lower gi tract. Somehow I swallowed a few, and passing them is a really disgusting feeling. She has told me that hasn't happened to her too, which makes it weirder. My ex-wife had really long hair and I was constantly pulling 3-foot-long strands out of my mouth. The worst was a maddening itch in my eye that I kept rubbing and rubbing until I realized I was pulling a hair out of my eye socket. Inch after inch I pulled out, feeling it tugging from under my eyeball. How the duck did it get in there? It's no mystery, the shit is just everywhere. God. Nightmare fuel right there. It was about 25 years ago, and I can still feel it. The true shock for me was the sheer amount of time my husband spends in the lavatory. Prior to the invention of smartphones, many of us kept a small library of bathroom reading material for just this reason. Edit, my pre-2008 preferred reading list, The Far Side, Calvin and Hobbes, The Economist. Edit number 2, based upon all the replies, I've come to the conclusion that somewhere in this world there is a chemical engineer who was inspired by reading the names of chemical compounds on the back of shampoo bottles while pooping. Edit number 3, it appears that much of the world's premier innovators in energy, the environment, biomedicine, electronics, food production, and materials are inspired poopers. Uncle John's Bathroom Reader. 2 editions of it are still in the bathroom I used when I lived with my parents. She works from home, but the television never leaves. Bravo. I leave for work. Bravo. Come home. Bravo. Go on the elliptical. Bravo. 24 ducking hours of these catty women, and sometimes men, yelling at each other. Bravo. Always being on is like the only thing we fight about, which is probably a good thing, but Jesus Christ, always with the Bravo. Even when I entertain her and say, "What show is this?" "Oh, Southern Charm." I don't really watch that show. Well, guess what? I've seen 50 episodes of Southern Charm passively when I come home, and I know you've done 20x that. God damn it, I hate Bravo. I'm getting a divorce. We're on HGTV now. Oh, Joanna Gaines is having Chip put up shiplap. What a ducking surprise. As much as I love HGTV, this is 1000% accurate. I love her style, so I don't have an issue with it, but I think that you could put all of the rooms she's designed into a slot machine and just hit shuffle and you'd get a house that would work. Therese, not too many deviations in her choices. There was an episode where they redid a mid-century modern house, and she actually went out of her normal car style, and it was really cool.